Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today, we're diving into one of the most surprising and fascinating coin stories in American numismatics, a small piece of pocket change that has captured the attention of collectors, treasure hunters, and enthusiasts around the world. I'm talking about the 1996 Roosevelt dime, a coin that millions of people have handled without ever realizing what an extraordinary hidden gem it could be. Now, at first glance, this dime seems completely ordinary. It's tiny, simple, silver-colored, and part of a design that most of us have seen our entire lives. But beneath that familiar appearance lies a history filled with commemorative significance, minting secrets, unexpected mint errors, and a skyrocketing value that has shocked even veteran collectors. So grab your cup of coffee, get comfortable, and prepare for a deep dive into the world of rare dimes. Especially this one particular 1996 Roosevelt dime that has sold for an absolutely astonishing amount of money. The unexpected importance of the 1996 dime. To understand why this little coin has become so valuable, we must start with what made 1996 a special year for the United States Mint. It marked the 50th anniversary of the Roosevelt dime, originally introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. By 1996, the Mint decided to commemorate this half-century milestone in several ways. One of the most important changes was intentionally increasing the quality of the strikes for certain dimes and producing special sets for collectors. But here's the twist: although millions upon millions of 1996 dimes were made for circulation, a select portion of them were struck with unusually sharp details, stronger strikes, or unique production qualities. These standout coins are what collectors are now desperately searching for. You might be thinking, why would a coin minted in the millions suddenly become worth thousands? The answer lies in the unusual combination of commemorative significance, mintage circumstances, condition rarity, and unexpected mint errors found in a few exceptional examples. The story behind the Roosevelt dime. Before we go deeper into the exact characteristics that make the 1996 dime so special, let's step back and explore the legacy of the coin itself. The Roosevelt dime was created shortly after President Roosevelt passed away in April 1945. His leadership through the Great Depression and World War II had left a lasting impact on the nation, and he had been a strong advocate for the March of Dimes campaign to help combat polio. In January 1946, the first Roosevelt dimes rolled out of the U.S. Mint, bearing his portrait designed by John R. Sinek. Since then, the design has remained remarkably consistent: a dignified profile of FDR on the obverse, and a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch on the reverse. Because the dime's appearance has not changed much in over 75 years, many collectors underestimate the potential value of certain dates. But that's what makes the coin world so thrilling. Even ordinary-looking pieces can be incredibly special. Why the 1996 dime is especially interesting now, let's return to the star of today's story, the 1996 Roosevelt dime. The Philadelphia Mint produced dimes with the P Mint mark, and while the total number minted was high, the real treasure lies not in the overall population, but in the quality and rarity of exceptional surviving examples. Some coins from this year were struck using newer dies, resulting in clearer edges, sharper lettering, and more defined miniature details, characteristics that collectors absolutely love. On top of that, the quality control standards for certain batches meant some dimes were struck with notable precision, giving them an almost proof-like appearance despite being regular circulation coins. These unusually well-struck dimes are what collectors refer to as high-grade gems, and they are incredibly rare to find in the wild today. Another factor contributing to their rarity is simple: most people never saved 1996 dimes. They were used daily, tossed in jars, spent on snacks, jingled around in pockets and purses, scraped across countertops, and rolled in bank wrappers. That means most surviving examples are worn down, and worn coins do not capture high prices. However, a small handful of preserved pieces have surfaced in extraordinary condition, some achieving grading levels so high that collectors battle fiercely for them at auction. Mint errors and their impact on value. And then, of course, we have mint error coins. Always the wild cards in the collecting world. A mint error occurs when something unusual happens during production: a die cracks, a planchet is misfed, the strike is off-center, or some unexpected mechanical irregularity occurs. With billions of coins produced across all denominations each year, most errors go unnoticed. But when an error happens in a coin that already has commemorative significance, as with the 1996 dime, the value can skyrocket. Some 1996 Roosevelt dimes are known to display the following unusual characteristics: a doubled image or doubled lettering from die doubling, misaligned dies producing shifted rims, off-center strikes, die chips or die cracks, which cause bumps or raised lines on the coin, missing details due to weak strikes. Collectors love these unique quirks because errors turn an ordinary dime into a one-of-a-kind collectible. And the rarer the error, especially in high grade, the higher the price climbs. The power of high-grade coins to reach the astonishing values we're going to discuss. A coin must typically receive a very high grade from professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC. These organizations examine coins under magnification and assign them a number on the 1 to 70 scale, with 70 representing perfection. A normal 1996 dime found in pocket change might grade somewhere around MS60 or lower, if it's even uncirculated at all. But the truly special coins, the ones with sharp details, flawless surfaces, glowing luster, and no scratches, can reach grades of MS68 or even MS69, which is extremely hard for circulation strikes. Such coins are the rarest of the rare, and only a handful have ever been certified at these top levels. That's why collectors pay staggering amounts for them. They're chasing perfection. The auction that shocked everyone. Among the elite examples of this coin, one particular 1996 Roosevelt dime shattered all expectations when it appeared at auction. It had extraordinary eye appeal, nearly flawless surfaces, and a strike so sharp that experts described it as exceptional for the series. When bidding opened, collectors immediately recognized they were not competing for an ordinary coin. What followed was a bidding war that captured the attention of the entire numismatic community. The final hammer price was so high that even seasoned experts were stunned. And now, the moment you've waited for, the staggering amount this small 10-cent piece sold for. The highest valued 1996 Roosevelt dime realized a record price of $48,255, which in words is $48,255. Why this matters to everyday collectors. Stories like this give hope to collectors, hobbyists, and even casual coin fans who enjoy checking their pocket change. Coins like the 1996 dime remind us that treasure is not always buried. Sometimes it's sitting quietly in a drawer, resting at the bottom of a jar, or lying forgotten in a glove compartment. So what should you look for if you want to check your own change? Here are a few helpful tips. Inspect the details carefully. Look closely at the lettering, torch, branches, and Roosevelt's hair. Sharp details usually mean a stronger strike and a higher grade. Check for unusual features. Any odd bumps, extra lines, doubling, or missing details could mean a valuable mint error. Examine the surface condition. Fewer scratches and brighter luster typically mean a more desirable coin. Consider professional grading. If you believe you have a gem, sending it to PCGS or NGC might dramatically increase its market value. Final thoughts. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises. A simple dime, something most of us barely glance at, can turn out to be a piece of history worth thousands of dollars. The 1996 Roosevelt dime is the perfect example of how extraordinary beauty, rarity, mint craftsmanship, and a touch of luck can transform an everyday coin into a numismatic treasure. We're diving into a story that starts with something small enough to forget in your pocket, light enough to lose between car seats, and common enough that we rarely stop to examine it. But as every collector knows, sometimes the smallest things hide the biggest surprises. And in the world of American coins, few surprises thrill people more than learning that an everyday dime, yes, a simple 10-cent piece, can turn into a small fortune under the right circumstances. Our focus today is the United States of America 2000 mint mark Roosevelt dime. A coin minted in huge numbers. A coin you've probably handled dozens of times without giving it so much as a second glance. And yet, among these millions lies a rarity that has stunned collectors and resurfaced stories about hidden fortunes sitting unnoticed inside change jars, drawers, and old forgotten piggy banks. So sit back, relax, and let's go on a journey deep into the world of numismatics, a world where history, mystery, and luck collide. Because the tale you're about to hear is not just about a dime. It's about how extraordinary value hides in the most ordinary places. Now let's begin with the coin itself. The Roosevelt dime has been a familiar sight since 1946. the year it was first introduced to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Over the decades, billions of them have rolled out of U.S. Mint facilities, from Philadelphia to Denver to San Francisco. They've jingled in pockets, vanished in couch cushions, and traveled the nation unnoticed. And in the year 2000, the Philadelphia Mint struck more than 1 billion dimes, roughly one for every 7 people on the planet at the time. But here's the twist: among the vast ocean of these 2000 dimes, a scarce few have become legends. A handful of pieces surfaced in the numismatic community, showing unusually sharp details, exceptional condition, and almost flawless surfaces. Coins like these, untouched by circulation, judged to be nearly perfect by grading services, have commanded jaw-dropping prices at auction. These rare specimens show a level of preservation that seems almost impossible for a coin that was never intended to be special. Collectors love the unexpected. They love when something normal transforms into something extraordinary. And that's exactly what happened with one particular 2000 Roosevelt dime that astonished the market. But before we get to that unbelievable price, we need to explore why certain coins, even modern ones, can command such enormous value. Many people assume only old coins are valuable, but age is only one factor, and not even the most important one. A coin minted in the year 2000 can be worth thousands if it possesses something extremely rare, flawless condition, special striking characteristics, or unusual errors created accidentally by the minting process. Every coin collector knows that perfection is a treasure. The slightest scratch, the tiniest mark, or even a fingerprint can reduce a coin's grade, and therefore its value. Most coins enter circulation within days of being minted, instantly accumulating wear, bumps, and tiny abrasions. But occasionally, maybe by luck or an unusual chain of events, a small number of coins remain untouched. They stay crisp, clean, sharp, and nearly perfect, time capsules of metal created by the mint and preserved as if nature itself decided to steal them away from harm. This is what makes the highest graded 2000 Roosevelt dimes so valuable. When examined under powerful lighting and magnification, they show details so sharp they appear sculptural. Every line of Roosevelt's portrait, every letter, every number, crystal clear. No blemishes, no evidence of handling, no signs of wear. Just a coin in near pristine condition, and when grading services like PCGS or NGC certify a coin as being in such exceptional shape, collectors pay attention. Very close attention, but another element also plays a role: scarcity. Even among billions of coins, the number that remain in top-tier condition is microscopic. That rarity is what pumps life into the market. When only a few exist, collectors begin to compete. And competition creates excitement, tension, and eventually, a record-breaking price. Now, imagine the thrill of discovering one of these rare dimes. Imagine finding it not in a museum, not in the vault of a longtime collector, but in a roll of coins from the bank or in the corner of an old drawer. There's something magical about the idea. Something humbling, too. It reminds us that life's greatest surprises can appear when we least expect them. The 2000 Roosevelt dime that shocked the numismatic world did exactly that. It appeared, quietly at first, like a whisper traveling through collectors' circles. But when it came time for the marketplace to speak, it spoke with a thunderous roar. Auction houses buzzed. Numismatic forums lit up. Collectors held their breath. And then, when the bidding war finally reached its climax, the humble dime, this tiny sliver of metal weighing less than 3 grams, earned a price that few could have predicted. Before we reveal that extraordinary value, let's take a moment to appreciate what makes stories like this so captivating. It's not just the money, although the number itself is shocking. It's the reminder that treasures are still out there. Not buried in remote deserts or hidden beneath ancient ruins, but resting quietly in everyday places. It's the possibility that anyone, absolutely anyone, might stumble upon something rare enough to change their day, their month, or even their life. That sense of possibility is the heartbeat of collecting. And that's why so many people now check their change, examine their coins more closely, and seek out the stories behind the currency we use without thinking. Now, let's return to the star of our show, the remarkable 2000 P. Roosevelt dime that took the spotlight, achieved a value few imagined a modern dime could reach. And in the end, its final selling price became a symbol of just how wildly the world of coins can surprise us. We're diving deep into one such story, the incredible tale of the 2003 Roosevelt dime. This is a coin millions of Americans have handled without realizing its hidden potential, a coin that rode through vending machines, dropped into charity jars, jingled in cup holders, and yet has, in some isolated cases, sold for a truly jaw-dropping amount. But before we get into what makes this particular dime so intriguing, let's rewind a bit and explore the broader context. The Roosevelt dime is one of the longest-running coin series in United States history. First issued in 1946, the design was created as a tribute to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, honoring his leadership, his legacy, and his role in founding the March of Dimes, an organization created to battle polio. The dime became a symbol not only of currency, but also of determination, resilience, and national unity. Over the decades, billions of these coins were minted, and they blended seamlessly into the daily rhythm of American life. No one could have predicted that the 2003 edition, produced in enormous numbers at the Denver Mint, would become a topic of intense excitement among collectors around the world. So what makes a coin like this, a coin minted in modern times, a coin not particularly old or flashy, become so valuable? The answer lies in the unpredictable world of minting errors. While the U.S. Mint maintains an incredibly high standard of precision, the reality is that mistakes do happen. Blank planchets slip into the wrong machines, dies break or clash, strikes get misaligned, and sometimes subtle imperfections become frozen into the metal. These are the moments collectors live for, the rare slip-ups that transform a common piece of currency into a coveted treasure. The 2003 Roosevelt dime has become famous precisely because of a variety of rare errors discovered in just a handful of specimens. Some of these errors are so unusual that they've only been seen once or twice, if ever again. Imagine holding a coin that the mint never intended to exist, a coin that should have been destroyed or caught before leaving the facility. Yet it slipped through, unnoticed, destined to be discovered by sheer chance, maybe by a collector flipping through a roll, maybe by a curious shopper examining their change, or maybe by someone who had no idea what they were holding until years later. One such error that pushed the 2003 Roosevelt dime into the spotlight involved dramatic striking anomalies, crazily off-center impressions, missing elements of the design, and strange distortions that made the coin appear almost surreal. Other examples featured broad strikes, where the coin was struck without the collar that normally holds it in place, causing the metal to expand outward like a delicate, flattened halo. Even more astonishing were a few specimens found with double strikes, where the machine pressed the design into the dime multiple times, creating a ghost-like or shadowed effect. These are the kinds of errors that transform a 10-cent coin into a prize of breathtaking value. Collectors, always hungry for the next big discovery, quickly turned their attention to this year-end mint mark. And in time, a handful of extraordinary specimens began to appear at auctions. These were not just simple errors. They were dramatic, unique, impossible to replicate mistakes, the kinds of coins that get written about, talked about, and chased relentlessly by serious numismatists. As word spread, more people began examining their own pocket change, hoping to stumble upon something extraordinary tucked between ordinary dimes. That's one of the magical things about coin collecting, the knowledge that a life-changing treasure could at any moment appear in the least glamorous, most everyday places. But the real question is, what makes the highest value example of this coin so special? According to expert descriptions and auction records, one remarkable 2003 Roosevelt dime featured an exceptional combination of errors, an off-center strike so dramatic it left portions of the design hanging off the coin, paired with unusual surface textures that suggested something went very wrong inside the minting chamber. This particular dime was not just rare, it was essentially unique. When it finally hit the auction block, collectors knew they were witnessing something extraordinary, and the bidding war quickly reflected that. What started as a modest opening price began to climb. $1,500, $5,000, $10,000, Higher and higher the numbers rose as dedicated collectors pushed the competition into new territory. And then, finally, with the room buzzing and the auctioneer's voice growing more intense, the hammer fell on a number that would astonish even seasoned experts. The coin sold for a staggering price, more than many people earn in an entire year, and instantly cemented its place in numismatic history, but the story doesn't end there. What this incredible sale really illustrates is the unpredictable, mesmerizing world of coin collecting. It shows us that modern coins still circulating today, can sometimes carry more value than antique pieces minted a century ago. It reminds us that treasure hunting isn't confined to dusty attics or ancient ruins, but can happen right in your pocket, in your change jar, or in that old coffee can filled with coins sitting forgotten in a drawer. And so, as we continue to explore the significance of the 2003 Roosevelt dime, we return to the deeper question: what makes something valuable? For some, it's rarity. For others, it's historical significance. For many collectors, it's the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. A dime is small, simple, and often overlooked, yet within that tiny circle of metal lies a world of stories, surprises, and possibilities. The Roosevelt dime, despite its modest physical size, has played a large role in American coinage. Through wars, recessions, cultural shifts, and technological revolutions, this little coin has remained constant. And yet, it's moments like the incredible sale of the 2003 error example that remind us how dynamic and unpredictable the numismatic world can be. A coin minted in 2003, a year most people don't even consider old, has the power to shatter expectations and generate headlines. It's a powerful reminder that the value of an object is not always tied to its age, but to its uniqueness, its story, and the passion it ignites in those who cherish it. So what should you look for if you happen to have a 2003 dime in your possession right now? Start by checking for anything that looks odd or unusual. Is the design off-center? Are there doubling effects in the letters or numbers? Does the coin appear stretched, expanded, or oddly shaped? Are details missing, such as parts of the torch, olive branches, or lettering along the rim? Even subtle differences can mean the coin is an error, and error coins are precisely where the big money lies. Collectors often advise using a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to examine the fine details. And, importantly, if you find a coin that looks unusual, resist the urge to clean it. Cleaning a coin can dramatically reduce its value. Instead, store it safely and consider having it professionally graded. The grading process can confirm authenticity, identify the type of error, and assign a condition score, all of which can massively influence the coin's market value. Now, does that mean every 2003 dime is worth a fortune? Of course not. Most of them are worth exactly 10 cents. But that tiny percentage, the rare outliers, the errors, the oddities, those are the ones that keep collectors searching. Those are the coins that spark dreams. And those are the coins that remind us that hidden treasures are still out there, waiting for the right pair of eyes. We're diving into one of those surprising stories, a story that begins with a small, silver-colored coin that millions of people have handled without ever realizing what makes it so special. This is the story of the United States of America 2006 mint Mark Roosevelt 1 dime, a coin that traveled through pockets, drawers, coin rolls, and change jars, yet somehow managed to rise above the ordinary and create waves in the world of coin collecting. Now, at first glance, it doesn't look all that different from the dime you might have right now in your wallet or between the couch cushions. It features the familiar profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, and of course, the tiny but important D mint mark that shows it was made at the Denver Mint. Millions of these coins were minted. In fact, the 2006 Denver dimes were so heavily produced that most people assume none of them could ever be rare. But that's exactly where the story gets interesting, because sometimes a coin becomes valuable not because of rarity in the traditional sense, but because of something far more fascinating, the unexpected. Whether it's a minting anomaly, a striking error, or an unusual combination of factors that slipped past the mint's quality control, these little surprises can transform an everyday coin into a treasure worth hunting for. And few coins capture that excitement quite like the 2006 Roosevelt 1 dime that collectors talk about today. Imagine this: someone buys a soda, receives their change, pockets a dime without a second thought, and walks away. Another person empties their car's cup holder and tosses a handful of coins into a jar. Life goes on. These are just dimes, after all. But then, years later, a curious collector or a hobbyist with a magnifying glass spots something odd. The coin looks slightly different, the details stand out in ways most dimes don't, and suddenly the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The 2006 Roosevelt dime has shown up in the news and in collector discussions for being found in unexpected high-grade condition, sometimes even uncirculated despite being nearly 2 decades old. And the moment one of these coins appears on the collector market in remarkable condition, that's when things get exciting. So let's explore why this coin matters and how it grew into such a fascinating piece of modern numismatic history. To understand the value behind this dime, we need to take a closer look at the Denver Mint. Known for mass-producing circulating coinage, the Denver Mint has historically been able to pump out coins with incredible speed. With high output comes less time for perfect die adjustments and detail checks. Most coins leave the mint with minor imperfections, small scratches from machinery, or slightly uneven striking. For everyday use, this doesn't matter. But for collectors seeking perfection, it means that finding a flawless or nearly flawless coin from a highly produced year is like finding a perfectly preserved leaf during a windstorm. That's why the 2006 Roosevelt dime in exceptional condition captured collector attention. These coins weren't designed to be rare, yet the flawless survivors are. Collectors have reported that some examples exhibit unusually sharp detail, clean fields, and remarkably strong strikes. These qualities combined with heightened collector interest in modern high-grade coins have pushed certain rare-condition examples into impressive price territory, but there's more. Some coin experts believe that a batch of 2006 Denver dimes may have been struck with slightly fresher dies or under cleaner production conditions, creating a small window in which a handful of coins were produced with unexpectedly crisp detail. That means anyone today might unknowingly own one of these enhanced condition coins, sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, or the bottom of a purse. Imagine the excitement of discovering such a coin. A tiny piece of metal worth 10 cents suddenly becomes something that could spark bidding wars among passionate collectors. A dime, a coin that adults shrug at and children sometimes swallow by accident, becomes a conversation starter, a prized possession, and a numismatic marvel. This is why coin collecting is more than a hobby. It's an adventure. It's the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that the next handful of change might contain a story waiting to be uncovered. It's the realization that some of the greatest treasures are hidden in the most ordinary places. The 2006 Roosevelt 1 dime has become a symbol of that excitement. Videos have been made about it, collectors have discussed it across forums, and auction watchers have kept an eye on those rare high-grade examples that emerge every now and then. What makes the story even better is that this isn't an old coin from the 1800s or a rare proof from an exclusive set. It's a modern coin you could have touched without knowing its importance. Collectors love coins like this because they represent possibility. They're reminders that history is not always about ancient artifacts buried deep underground, sometimes it's sitting in your palm as you count out change. It's a testament to how a regular coin can become a legend when the right conditions align. Now let's take a journey into what finding one of these valuable examples really means. Picture a collector at an auction holding a perfectly graded 2006 Roosevelt dime. The luster dances under the lights, the details are crisp, and the coin looks almost untouched by time or circulation. The auctioneer calls for bids. A hush falls. A few hands rise. The numbers climb. And soon the final hammer drops on a price that leaves people stunned. This isn't just a dime being sold, it's a moment in numismatic history, and this brings us to one of the most remarkable recorded values associated with a pristine example of this coin. Now, it's important to remember that not every 2006 dime will command such a figure. The coin must be near perfect, professionally graded, and stand out significantly from the millions of average examples. But the fact that such prices have been achieved shows exactly how powerful condition, rarity within a common issue, and collector demand can be. Before we reach the grand reveal, let's take a moment to appreciate how rare it is for a modern circulating coin to draw this kind of attention. Most modern dimes minted in the billions rarely attract interest or appreciation. Yet this coin broke that pattern, proving that even the most ordinary years can produce extraordinary treasures. The story of the 2006 Roosevelt dime is ultimately a celebration of passion, detail, and curiosity. It teaches us that no coin is too plain, no year too recent, and no denomination too small to hold significant potential. It represents the joy of discovery and the idea that value doesn't always come from age or rarity alone. Sometimes it comes from excellence. So if you have a coin jar in your home, now might be the time to look at it differently. That little pile of change on your kitchen counter might be more than clutter, it might be history. It might hold something special, something worth more than you ever imagined. And even if you don't find a hidden treasure, you'll gain something else, the thrill of possibility and the excitement of the hunt. As we wrap up this exploration of one of the most unexpectedly remarkable modern dimes, let's reveal the astonishing figure that one exceptional example achieved. A top-grade 2006 Roosevelt 1 dime reached an extraordinary value of about $28,255. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the 2015 Roosevelt dime, a modern United States coin that might look nearly identical to the change you've used every day, but under just the right circumstances. One unusual example shocked collectors by selling for a staggering price that no one expected. Get ready, because this isn't just another coin video. This is a journey, through minting, through rarity, through hidden treasure, and through the extraordinary world of numismatics where even the smallest coin can carry a massive punch of value. The fascination hidden in everyday change. Most Americans have handled thousands of Roosevelt dimes in their lifetime. They jingle in pockets, slip into drawers, fall between couch cushions, pay for parking meters, and disappear into piggy banks. They are familiar, reliable, and hardly the type of items people think twice about, but that is exactly what makes stories like this so compelling. Sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins hide extraordinary secrets. The 2015 Roosevelt dime is, by all standards, a modern coin. It wasn't minted in the 1950s or the silver era of the 1960s. It doesn't contain precious metal. It wasn't part of a tiny mintage run. In fact, the Denver Mint produced millions of them in 2015. So how could a coin minted in huge numbers be worth an unbelievable amount of money? The answer is simple, and complicated. It's all about condition, rarity within condition, and the pursuit of perfection. Why coin condition changes everything. Coins are not created equal. Even though the design is the same, the die preparation is the same, and the metal composition is the same, there is a world of difference between a dime that falls straight from the coin press into a protective container and a dime that clatters through machines, bags, and circulation. Collectors prize perfection, flawless surfaces, unbroken luster, sharp, crisp strikes. 0 marks, scratches, or imperfections. When a coin approaches this level of perfection, especially in modern issues, the value skyrockets, not because the coin itself is rare, but because the grade is rare. In 2015, very few Roosevelt dimes managed to reach such an unimaginably high grade that they shocked experts, and one of these ultra-premium examples made history, the 2015 Roosevelt dime, a modern marvel. Let's zoom in on the coin itself. The 2015 Roosevelt dime carries the familiar portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a design that has appeared since 1946. It was struck at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark tucked discreetly on the obverse. On the reverse, the torch representing liberty stands tall, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbols of peace and strength. Everything about the coin is standard for a dime produced in the last several decades. However, the rare specimen that shocked collectors wasn't just any dime. It was graded at the highest possible levels, recognized for its flawless surfaces and impeccable strike, attributes nearly impossible to find on a coin that endured the rough handling typical of modern minting and distribution systems. These flawless examples are so scarce that collectors sometimes spend years hunting for even one. The story behind the record sale. One particular 2015 Roosevelt dime achieved something extraordinary. It sold for a jaw-dropping sum at auction. This wasn't because of a mint error, or a special planchet, or an unusual composition. It sold for its grade alone. This astonishing sale grabbed attention across the collecting world. People were stunned. How could a coin they casually spent at grocery stores be worth so much in pristine condition? The sale served as a reminder that hidden treasures don't always come from ancient history, they can come from pocket change minted less than a decade ago. This record-breaking example became a modern icon, a symbol of how condition rarity can transform an everyday coin into a valuable treasure. Understanding why the value exploded. So why do collectors go wild over high-grade modern coins like this one? Here are the main reasons. 1. Modern coins are harder to find in perfect grades than people think. Machines handle them roughly. Bags clatter and scrape them. Even slight imperfections drop their grade dramatically. 2. High-grade population reports are extremely low. If only a tiny handful of coins reach the highest grade, the value instantly rises. 3. Demand for finest known pieces is fierce. Some collectors want the absolute best example of every year, every mint, every series. 4. Registry set competition creates bidding battles. Collectors trying to build top-ranking sets will pay incredible amounts for the rarest, highest-graded coins. Combined, these factors create a perfect storm of demand, rarity, and value. The beauty of a modern coin treasure hunt. One of the most exciting parts of modern coin collecting is the thrill of possibility. You don't need to go digging through antique shops or ancient chests. You can find potential treasure in bank rolls, pocket change, sealed mint sets, coin jars, bags of new coins from the bank. While most coins will be ordinary, the chance of discovering a flawless example keeps collectors searching. The idea that a modern dime, something you could easily overlook, could be worth a tremendous sum is what makes coin collecting endlessly fascinating. Avoiding misconceptions. It's important to understand that not all 2015 Roosevelt dimes are valuable. In circulated condition, they are worth exactly 10 cents. Even in uncirculated condition, the majority are valued only slightly above face value. The incredible value applies only to the highest graded examples certified by professional grading companies. These coins are exceptionally scarce and cannot be identified by the naked eye. It requires expert grading and perfect conditions, but still, the possibility is there, and that possibility is exactly what makes this coin special. A look into the world of minting perfection. Imagine being the technician at the grading company, examining a coin under powerful magnification. Every tiny line, every speck of dust, every minuscule flaw becomes huge across the screen. Even one microscopic mark can drop the grade. Finding a flawless example is like discovering a snowflake that never melted, never touched anything, never fell out of perfect symmetry. The 2015 dime that sold for an extraordinary amount wasn't just lucky, it was a survivor. It emerged from the mint without flaws, escaped damage during handling, and maintained pristine condition until it reached the grading company. That alone is remarkable. A story that inspires collectors everywhere. The tale of the high-value 2015 Roosevelt dime is one of modern numismatic magic. It shows that you don't need an ancient artifact or a rare antique to experience the thrill of owning, or discovering, something truly extraordinary. Collectors love this story because it reminds them that modern coins can hold incredible value. Perfection is rare. Hidden treasures still exist and anyone could stumble upon. It's the perfect blend of mystery, history, and excitement. Why this coin matters. The record-setting 2015 Roosevelt dime isn't just valuable, it's symbolic. It represents the craftsmanship of the modern U.S. mint, the passion of collectors, the surprising potential of everyday objects, and the evolving world of numismatics. It highlights how the smallest pieces of metal can carry stories that travel across states, across auctions, and across generations. It proves that even a coin minted in recent memory can find its place among legendary collectibles. The exact price that stunned collectors, and now, the moment you've been waiting for, the record-breaking 2015 Roosevelt dime sold for a truly extraordinary amount when it appeared at auction. The final hammer price, the number that shocked the coin world, was